Sarah Bumgardner with AAFMAA, the American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. For over 144 years, we have been serving our military community to be the premier provider of financial solutions for the American Armed Forces. And as the Director of Partnership and Member Engagement, I talk with other nonprofit organizations about what they are doing to help service members, their families, veterans, and the military community at large. And today's topic is hiring a veteran. Tomorrow, July 25th, is Hire a Veteran Day. So what more fitting way than to speak with American corporate partners about how they help veterans get hired. I have Rich Comitz, Senior Vice President and Chief of Staff, and Leslie Coffey, Vice President of Military Engagement at ACP, to talk about how ACP sets veterans up for success to get hired. Welcome all.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here today. So tomorrow is Hire a Veteran Day, right? What more fitting way than to talk about how veterans can set themselves up for success in getting hired. Leslie, what is the mission and driving force of American Corporate Partners?
Yes, so Sarah, thanks so much for having us. We are a nationwide nonprofit. We focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's customized mentorship. One-to-one customized mentorship. But the beautiful thing about the mentorship is a byproduct is meaningful employment. So we're wanting them to get more than just a job, but really working towards fulfilling long-term careers. And with that, we see phenomenal retention rates.
Yeah, and that's really important because when service members are going through a military transition, it's such a life event, and there's a little bit of, we hear this identity crisis that happens, who am I and what am I going to do next? And gainful employment can make that transition so much easier, and especially if it's a fulfilling job, something that they are really engaged in. So, Rich, what have you seen as the biggest hurdle service members have in getting meaningful employment, and how that mentorship program helps them?
Yeah, thank you. I think oftentimes we not only have a problem sometimes getting a job as veterans, but also underemployment. So oftentimes people are taking the first job they can find when they get out, and then they find out a few months later that they're not even in the right area that they're, fulfillment. They don't like what they're doing, and they end up having to transition again, which is really unfortunate. So what we see the biggest hurdle is really translating those military skills that they've learned in the military and applying those, in the job market through their resume and through their interview skills in a way that employers can see and value what they have done in the military. And I think the best part of this is, as Leslie mentioned, we have mentors that actually help people walk that through and figure that out, and they're in the industry that they're looking to get into. So who better to get advice from than someone that's actually in that industry and what they should be talking about in their resume and how they can showcase those skills that they learned in the military.
Yeah, and that's a really great point, in that putting together somebody who is interested in, maybe they're interested in getting into finance, or they're interested in business or project management, linking them up with somebody who's doing that exact job to say, hey, this is what I look for when I'm hiring somebody. So let's tailor your resume to this, or you have the skill set, we just haven't quite worded it right. And that can be a huge leg up, as opposed to just blindly sending resumes out and figuring out kind of your networking in that. I am really proud to say, actually, that I am a mentor of ACP, and so I mentor a military spouse, and that's one of the things that we work on, is knowing sometimes, as a military spouse, maybe I don't feel like I have the right capabilities, but you really do. You have all these strengths and capabilities that you're just not sure of. So we don't want to take away anything from the Hire a Veteran Day, but ACP also does help military spouses get employed. And I was one for 11 years. So Leslie, can you tell me a little bit about how ACP also helps military spouses looking for employment?
Yeah, well, Sarah, you hit on the point right there. It really comes down to that confidence factor. Those coming in, spouses that we assist, those coming in, they survey at 29% are confident in their career path that they've chosen. But after working with mentors like yourself, so thank you so much for your willingness to sign up and mentor, that jumps to 87%. Improving their confidence. And it really doesn't matter what they want to work on. A lot of our spouses tend to want to launch a business so that we'll move with them. Even if they want to, for my mentor, I'm an alumni. We, at the very beginning, we did career exploration. She called it window shopping, which we just lined up some job announcements and figured out what I was a great fit for. And it was just as important to eliminate what wasn't the right fit for me. So definitely small business growth, resume review, addressing the gaps. Like a mentor can help you, but over and over in networking, but over and over, it's that confidence piece that spouses need more than anything.
Yeah. And that can be really important too, because if you're a military spouse and your service member is on active duty, you can bring in some more income, right? Or create a career that can move with you. And then that just helps from a financial aspect from when that service member decides to transition and goes through your program, which is phenomenal. I have to say, as a firsthand experience, how you engage with the mentor, how you're making sure that everybody's staying on track. That veteran then has maybe a little bit more of a financial buffer, right? So that, as Rich said, you're not going into something just to get a job, to get a paycheck. You can actually take the time to just transition one time into something that you're interested in. So for those out there who are thinking, okay, I'm coming up on transitioning from my service, what's kind of a timeline that people should be coming to ACP to ask to be a part of getting a mentor?
I would say, most people will say somewhere around 9 months or so before you're transitioning. Any time would be good, right? And if you've already transitioned, there's still definitely usefulness for a mentor. But the way I think about it is you really kind of have different phases of your transition. One is kind of trying to figure out what you want to do. Two is really getting prepared for that, right? With the resume, elevator pitch, those things. Mm-hmm. And then there's the applying for jobs. And that in itself is not an easy thing because a lot of civilian jobs have weird titles. So it's hard to figure out where you fit in and what level you should apply for. So that's another phase. And then hopefully you get offered a job. You're interviewing, so you're practicing that. You get offered a job. There's also negotiation, right? In the civilian world, you can negotiate. Not in the military, you can't. So there's, talking about different benefits that you can talk about or negotiate. And then hopefully you get a job. And then it's great to have a mentor after you get a job for a few months to talk about work-life balance. How can I position myself to better in that job or progress in that job? So I like that time frame, like around 9 months or so. So you're getting the end of your military career and then also hopefully the first few months of your new career. It just depends on you, but I'd say earlier better. And you can get a lot out of a mentorship in a year, but the problem is that you probably won't be applying for a job just yet. So that's why I like it when you can apply for a job and then still get the benefit of having a mentor afterwards as well.
Yeah. And that's a really good point. And I want to make sure that I'm understanding too, is that, if you kind of 9 months before you're getting ready to leave service, that gives you time to, cultivate kind of your resume, understand where you need to be applying and at what level. And then you can also do probably dry run interviews with your mentor to say, hey, these are the things I'm looking for in this industry. These are the words we use that are a bit different than what you've been using. And then you still have a 3-month buffer once you've transitioned from service to kind of level set. That seems like a great timeline. But you mentioned too that if somebody has already transitioned from service, they're in veteran status, they can still come to ACP, correct?
Yes, as long as they've served 180 days since 9/11, they're more than welcome to apply for a mentorship, and that includes guards and reserves. And yeah, I think sometimes not all of the people that come to us to get a mentor are looking for a job. Some people are looking to level up or explore new job areas or things of that nature. So not everyone's looking for a job, so a mentor can help in those areas as well.
That's great. Well, it sounds like if you are in need, right, of thinking about I'm transitioning, I'd like to talk to somebody in my industry, that you all can really help with that. And then if you're somebody who is maybe a veteran or a military spouse and you are in an industry and you're saying, hey, I can give back, I can help somebody, I wish that somebody had told me these things, that you can come to be a mentor. So there's kind of a full circle there with ACP, which is wonderful. And I just want to make sure we get that link up. We'll put it in the comments, and we'll also put it here as the ticker, but it's acp-usa.org. And people can go there to either apply to be a mentor or apply to get a mentor, correct?
That's it.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate both of you taking the time today to walk through how ACP is setting up veterans to get hired. Tomorrow is Hire a Veteran Day, so I hope every organization out there is hiring veterans, also military spouses. I'm a plug for that. But I really appreciate you both, Leslie and Rich, coming today, talking about ACP, the great work that you're doing. It's tremendous, and somebody who's doing it right now, I can say it really is top notch. So awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Well, that's going to wrap up our LinkedIn Live for today. I'm Sarah Bumgardner, Director of Partnership and Member Engagement. If you would like any more information about AAFMAA or financial readiness within the military community, you of course can subscribe here on the QR code on the screen. Otherwise, I thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.